Welcome to A Year in the Bible with Daily Grace. The Bible tells one big story of redemption, and we want to spend 5 minutes every day journeying through the Bible from start to finish and exploring how all of it points to Jesus.
Hey, Daily Grace family, welcome back. My name is Tiffany, and this journey through Isaiah with you has been such a gift. We come to some important and pivotal passages today as we walk through Isaiah chapters 52 through 54. Isaiah chapter 52, verses 1 through 12, addresses the original exiles in Babylon. God tells them to wake up and take their seat in Jerusalem. It will once again be a holy city and set apart before the Lord. When we think back to our time in the book of Ezra, we remember the events that occurred that brought the people out of exile and back to Jerusalem. They left under the protection of Cyrus and were even able to take home the temple vessels that had been stolen by Nebuchadnezzar years before. God protected his remnant and brought them home safely. These verses remind us that we look forward to the new Jerusalem, when the kingdom of Satan will be destroyed and sin and evil will be no more. Our very lives have been paid for through the blood of Christ, our suffering servant. Isaiah chapter 52 verses 13 through chapter 53 verse 12 is about our suffering servant Jesus. Isaiah spoke these words about Christ 700 years before they occurred, and Jesus fulfilled each and every word. Jesus is the only payment God would take for sin. His willingness and obedience to lay down his sinless life pays the debt we could never pay. Jesus was the long-awaited permanent atonement for sin. He made the priesthood and the sacrificial system obsolete. These verses show us Jesus' sinless humanity, his power to heal both spiritually and physically, and the fulfillment of the covenants made to Abraham, as the family of God is as numerous as the stars. Also the covenant to David, as Jesus reigns eternally as king from the tribe of Judah. Those who follow Jesus are his spoils of war. Those who were once rebels are now brought into the family of God, washed clean from all sin. Isaiah 54 speaks about the future glory of Israel. These verses did indeed have a near and immediate fulfillment in the book of Ezra, when 42,000 Jews returned home to Jerusalem. But more than that, these verses have great spiritual victory and glory for the new Jerusalem we await in the book of Revelation. This passage tells us to rejoice, shout, and not be afraid. We can do this because we have been restored, and we have a heavenly home awaiting. We also rejoice and shout when people hear the gospel and follow Jesus. Just as Jerusalem was inhabited again after the exile, we too will inhabit the new Jerusalem with millions of fellow believers as we gather around the throne in worship. I want to end our time together today by reading this passage from Isaiah 52:13 through 53:12. As you listen, think about Jesus, his life, ministry, death, and resurrection. Take time to worship our suffering servant who gave his life so we could have abundant life both here on earth and eternity with him. Let's listen to these words. See, my servant will be successful. He will be raised and lifted up and greatly exalted. Just as many were appalled at you, his appearance was so disfigured that he did not look like a man, and his form did not resemble a human being. So he will sprinkle many nations. Kings will shut their mouths because of him, for they will see what had not been told them, and they will understand what they had not heard. Who has believed what we have heard? And to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? He grew up before him like a young plant, and like a root out of dry ground. He didn't have an impressive form or majesty that we should look at him. no appearance that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of suffering who knew what sickness was. He was like someone people turned away from. He was despised, and we didn't value him. Yet he himself bore our sicknesses, and he carried our pains. But we in turn regarded him stricken, struck down by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced because of our rebellion, crushed because of our iniquities. Punishment for our peace was on him, and we are healed by his wounds. We all went astray like sheep. We all have turned to our own way, and the Lord has punished him for the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. Like a lamb led to the slaughter, and like a sheep silent before her shearers, he did not open his mouth. He was taken away because of oppression and judgment, and who considered his fate? For he was cut off from the land of the living. He was struck because of my people's rebellion. He was assigned a grave with the wicked, but he was with a rich man at his death, because he had done no violence and had not spoken deceitfully. Yet the Lord was pleased to crush him severely. When you make him a guilt offering, he will see his seed. He will prolong his days, and by his hand the Lord's pleasure will be accomplished. After his anguish, he will see light and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant will justify many, and he will carry their iniquities. Therefore, I will give him the many as a portion, and he will receive the mighty as a spoil, because he willingly submitted to death and was counted among the rebels. Yet he bore the sin of many and interceded for the rebels. I pray you have a wonderful day, friends, as you meditate on all Christ has done for us. What a gift to be saved by grace and know the King of heaven and earth. I'll see you tomorrow.